Why not accept me? Not accept me. Not accept me. This is the procedure. Consequence. Then table the person can I talk to her until happy? Yes, she's definitely.
Assalamu alaikum, Juma Mubarak, ladies and gentlemen of the press. On behalf of the Secretary General and the party leader, we welcome you to another edition of the UDP press briefing in respect of the past December elections.
The team movement one?
Again, we apologize profoundly for starting the proceedings some 30 minutes late. It's is His Excellency Honorable Mbemba Tambedu, the Deputy Ambassador to the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Next to him is His Excellency Dr. Mamadou Lamine Sidat Diop, former Foreign Minister, former Ambassador to the Republic of France. On the left side is Honorable Amadou Sane, the former Finance Minister of the Gambia and National Treasurer. Standing next to the party leader is Mariam Babukar Seka, the Deputy Party Leader and Deputy Secretary General of the UDP. We are very pleased that we have an opportunity again to engage with the media on an issue that will always be of importance to the UDP, that is the rule of law and good governance of this country. For the 25 years that the party has been in existence, this has been our clarion call, that the rule of law must prevail, whatever the circumstances are. We remember in 2016, Usainu Dabo and his brothers went to prison because of constitutional and electoral reforms. These causes and these concerns are still with the UDP, and we are continuing in that same struggle to make sure that the rule of law, however is going to be established in the Gambia, we are going to continue that struggle. So again, I'm not going to say much. I will leave the Secretary General and the former Vice President of the Gambia make his case again. Thereafter, we will have a session of Q&A, and thereafter we will all go and pray for a peaceful Gambia on this blessed Friday. Thank you very much again for coming to this media meeting. Your Excellency, Party Leader, you have the floor. Where is... I'm
people on what we found, not only missing, but what we found to have been gross violations of the electoral process from registration to counting. We had rejected the results of the elections, and following our rejection, we filed suits in the court. Our suit was not heard. We know we are not dealing with what NPP, we will conclude, is involved in what we are going to tell you today. But the principal actor in that is the Electoral Commission. The Electoral Commission is the principal actor in what we are going to discuss today. And I just say Electoral Commission, I'm not adding any other word. We had 730 counting centers throughout the country. Of these 730 counting centers, we were able to take 461 of those for our sample survey, because we couldn't get the entire 730. And our survey reveals that out of these 461 polling centers or counting centers, 89 of those counting centers, the results were not authenticated or endorsed by the presiding officer or the returning officer. Gentlemen of the press, you just want to show you what at the close of polls, after counting, these are the forms that the presiding officer must endorse. Says that counted and endorsed by, then the name of the presiding officer. We've shown that this particular one was endorsed by the presiding officer, and that is Brikama North Kabafita. We are not so endorsed. And that carried a total votes of 53,000 plus. And that is a quarter of the votes of the votes of these 461 voting centers. Now, what has happened in other parts of the country would have been made known if we had gone, if the Supreme Court had allowed our case to proceed because we had put in request that all the documents that IEC produces, all the documents, then the rest of the other forms would have been produced, and then the authenticity or the validity of the elections would then have been certified. When the returning officer has not satisfied this particular results, this particular station, then one starts thinking, you know, how has the Independent Electoral Commission chairman accepted this for collation? And let me tell you, I have taken out this proposal for Djibouti to say that they were not valid. Picked out this, that's my area. Now, there was not only this fundamental error by the IEC in the conduct of the elections, but at the close of registrations, at Brikama North, sampling of few registration centers indicate teams move from one center to the other. And these movements are in their document. Yeah, they're in their document, and the registrations took place in these places outside of those periods. For instance, in Brikama North, Kabafita Mosque, Brikama North, 22 people were registered after the close of registration in that particular registration center. We also have that in Brikama North, Nyambai Babagale, registration 7 people were registered after the close of registration. In Brikama, near Mataba Girls Guide, also registration continued there. So did it continue in Brikama Bafloto Bantaba, and Brikama Busranding, and Brikama Market. In Brikama South, in fact, Brikama North was really targeted, because in Brikama Jalambang Mosque, registration continued after the close of registration, when registration should have closed there on the 21st of June. They carried on registration there on the 11th of July, 6th of July, 9th of July, 11th of July. This, we say that NPP, in complicity with the Electoral Commission, carried out this fraud, because no registration should have been carried out in those places. Also, in the Brikama North, Jamisa Bantaba, registration closed there on the 9th of June, but on the 2nd of July, 9th of July, and 11th of July, registration continued in that particular registration center. In Brikama New Town, North Moda Ali Nursery School, registrations closed there on the 12th of June, but on the 2nd of July, registration was conducted in that place. Of course, because it's not within the official period, you cannot find any party agent to really if even protest that a particular party is not qualified to be registered. In Brikama, Sierra Kundanding, registration closed on the 11th of June, but on the 4th and 10th of July, registrations were conducted in that registration center. Brikama South was also not spared. Brikama Daslam Health Center, registration closed on the 5th of July, but then it continued on the 6th of July, 8th of July, 9th of July, 10th of July, and 11th of July. In Brikama Busra Clinic, registration closed there on the 23rd of June, yet registration continued there on the 2nd of July, 3rd of July, 4th of July, 6th of July, 8th of July. In Brikama Medina Bantaba, this Brikama South constituency, registration was closed there on the 12th of June, but on the 4th of July and the 10th of July, registration took place in that center. Brikama Sanekunda Bantaba in Brikama South, registration closed on the 19th of June, but on the 22nd of June, 1st July, 3rd July, 4th July, and 11th July, registration continued in that particular registration center. Now, Brikama Marakisa, Bantaba, registration ended on the 13th of June, yet on the 3rd of July, 6th of July, 9th of July, 11th of July, registration continued in that particular registration center. Brikama Perseverance, Bantaba, registration closed on the 19th of June, yet on 1st July, 6th July, and 1st July, 6th July, registration continued there. Brikama Newtown South Mosque, registration closed on the 21st of June, yet on the 1st of July, 2nd July, 3rd July, 5th July, 6th July, 9th July, 10th July, 11th July, registration (10th July), registration was conducted in Khartoum. You don't have dates which registration should be conducted there. But nonetheless, we have that registration was conducted there on the 1st of July, 2nd July, 6th July, and 11th July, even though this is not a designated registration center. Now, Farato Mosque, the registration was supposed was closed on the 9th of June. Yet on the 30th June, July 2nd, July 3rd, July 4th, July 5th, July 6th, July 8th, and July 9th, registration continued in that particular registration center, that is Farato Mosque in Combo South. Now, Tangier Community Center, registration closed on the 9th of June, but registration was conducted there on the 2nd of July and on the 4th of July. Tujering, around the senior secondary school, registration closed there on the 19th of June. Yet, on the 11th of July, registration continued in that area. In Tujering Bantaba, registration closed on the 8th of June. Well, on the 2nd July, 3rd July, 6th July, and 8th July, registration was conducted by the IEC in that particular polling center, registration center. And ladies and gentlemen of the press, this information I'm giving you, we have the photographs and the voting cards of all these people, the people registered in all these places. We have them. You know, it's not something that we are just imagining. Say, this is what happened. It's actual IEC documents showing this. It's not our making. Then we move to Badbu Karawan. And again, consider this a sample now. You've seen that. Combo South, Combo East. We don't. Nothing has been taken on Combo East because these are samples. Yeah? No. Badbu Karawan, registration was supposed to close on the 1st of July, yet on the 6th of July, registration was conducted. In Jokadu, Sinkir Jargajub Health Center, registration was supposed to closed on the 5th of June, yet on the 8th of June, registration was carried out at that health center. In Kersale Health Center, registration closed on the 27th of June, but on the 4th of July, registration was carried out in that health center. Njabakunda Bantaba, registration closed on the 6th of July, but on the 10th of July, registration was carried out in that area. Farafenya Wharf Town, registration closed on the 1st of July, yet on the 2nd of July, and the 4th of July, registration continued. In Kintakunda Janea, Bantaba, registration closed on the 1st of July, but on the 6th of July, registration was carried out. In the KM area, Latrikunda Sabiji, Abuko Upper Basic School, registrations closed on the 19th of June, yet on the 3rd of July, 4th of July, 8th of the 2nd July, 6th July, 7th July, and 10th July, registrations were conducted in these areas. In the Rex Nursery School, registration closed on the 15th of June, yet on the 4th of July, registration was conducted in that area. In Latrikunda Sabji Mosque, Fajikunda, registration closed on the 13th of June, yet on the 7th of July, we had registration in that center. Talindim Bantaba, registration closed on the 18th of June, yet on the 7th of July and 8th of July, registrations were conducted. Now, Talindim ITT Nursery School, registration closed on the 11th of June, yet 11th of July, 1 month after the closure, registration conducted in that particular center. Now, the Fajikunda Health Center registers closed on the 28th of June. Yet on 2nd July, 4th July, 10th July, 5th July, registration conducted in the Fajikunda Health Center. Registration closed on the 6th of July, yet on the 9th of July, you had registration conducted in that area. Now, Nyamina Dankung Barokunda, registration closed on 13th June. No. 11th of June, yet registration was carried out on the 2nd of July. Janjambure, Nyamina is Jareng, Fulakunda. Registration closed on the 4th of June, yet on the 5th of July, registration was carried out in that center. Nyamina West, Choya, registration closed on the 19th of June. 7th of July, registration carried out in that area. Katamina, registration closed on the 14th of on the 14th of June. You had to have registration on the 10th of July. Now, Janjambure, Nyamina Dalaba, registration closed on the 24th of June, yet on the 7th of July, you had a registration carried out in that area. In Kerawan Fula, registration closed on the 11th June, 5th July, had registration carried out. In Banjul South, Banjul Mini Stadium, registration closed on the 18th of June, 2nd July 2021. 2nd July 2021, registration was carried out. Banjul Mini Stadium, on registration closed on the 18th of June, and on the 2nd of July, registration was conducted. Lasawaf Market, registration closed on the 26th of June, and on the 2nd July, 10th July, 11th July, registrations were carried out in those areas. No. Don't have the iPad. Now, in Jambanjeli, in Nyamina, in Jambanjel, in Combo South, after close of registration in Jambanjeli South, in Jambanjeli, 19 people got registered in Jambanjeli after the close of registration. No. Gentlemen, the registration, the timing for each registered voter, for anyone to get registered, could not be less than 5 minutes. The time you present yourself to the registering officer, identifying yourself, checking on your qualifications, whether it's one of presentation of a passport, ID card, or attestation, cannot be less than 5 minutes. But our sampling to 17 June 2001, a huge number of people who were registered in Basse Dunia under 4 minutes. Under 4 minutes, which is not possible. But very strikingly is that people were even registered after the close of business on the day. Registration commences at 8 a.m. and closes at 5 p.m. But we have discovered that in Basse Dunia, on the 3rd of between 5:01 p.m. and 6 p.m., well outside the time stipulated for registration of voters. 6th of June, 123 people were registered, and of these, 5 of them were registered between 5 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. On the 7th of June, 152 people were registered, all under 3 minutes, of course, and out of the 7 of them were registered between 5 and 5:25 p.m. On the 8th of June, 206 people were registered, and 11 of them between 2 minutes after 5 and 5:46. On the 9th of June, 213 people were registered, and out of these, 14 people were registered between 5 minutes after 5 and 5:25. 14th June, 98 people were registered, and out of these 98 people, 28 people were registered between 2 minutes after outside of the period stipulated for registration of voters. This cannot be done without IEC being complicit with those people who were involved in this. Now, Simbara, also, we had a similar thing. Simbara, people are registered, in less than 4 minutes. But what is in interest for us is that on the 7th of July, 314 people were registered. And out of these, 72 were registered between 5:07 p.m. and 6:45 p.m. 72 people. And on the 8th of July, 302 people were registered, and of these, 34 were registered between 5:02 p.m. and 5:44 p.m. This, again, outside the period, the time stipulated by the IEC for registration of voters. In Bantanto, on the 8th of June, 10 people were registered between 5:03 p.m. and 5:20 p.m. On the 10th of June, 10 people were also registered between 5:01 p.m. and 5:18 p.m. In Sibito, on the 4th of June, 59 people were registered, and 12 of them between 5 and 5:30 p.m. On the 6th of June, 48 people were registered, and out of these 48, 6 of them were registered between 5:02 p.m. and 5:19 p.m. In Koina, on the 16th of June, 161 people were registered, and of these, 8 of them were registered between 5:35 and 5:56. 5:35, 5:56. That's less than 15 minutes. That's less than 15 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah? Less than 15 minutes. Yeah? Now, and of course, on the 17th, I didn't capture the number of people, but then registration was conducted up to 7 p.m. in Sibito. Then on the 19th, 138 people were registered, and out of these, 23 were registered after 6 p.m. Because I've had to mention this earlier. On the 18th also, 138 people were registered in Sibito, and out of these, 32 were after hours. June 2021, 73 people were registered, and out of these, 29 people were registered between 5:02 and 6:04 p.m. 15 June, 73 people were registered, and out of these, 26 registered between 5:01 and 5:43 p.m. 16 June 2021, 82 people were registered, and 15 of these were registered between 5:01 and 5:43 p.m. 17 June, 80 people were registered, and 15 of them were registered between 5:03 and 5:15 p.m. 19 June, 95 people were registered, 16 of them between 5:01 and 5:46 p.m. 20th June, 85 people were registered, and 11 of them between 5:06 p.m. and 5:34 p.m. 23rd June 2021, 96 people were registered, and out of these, 8 of them between 5:02 and 5:16 p.m. Now, apart from that, Kular also reveals an order, one of the probably greatest frauds also. Registration closed throughout the Gambia on the 11th of July. But in Kular, registration continued there. 13th July, 14th July, 15th July, 16th July, 17th July, 18th July, 19th July, 20th July, 21st July, 22nd July, 23rd July, 24th July, 25th July, 26th July. Minimum number of people registered on these days was 30. The minimum registered was 30. We have this 125 got registered. Now, aside from this, we also have, again, Jambanjeli. 207 people were registered outside the time stipulated, all at Jambanjeli market, because we had only Jambanjeli market. 207 people registered after the prescribed time for registration, and some before. In fact, 7 people were registered in Jambanjeli market at 07:50 before the opening of the polls. We had that in Jambanjeli, 207. And similarly, in Jao, we had 7 people registered before the opening of the polls, and 200 registered after the prescribed period in Jao Center. And gentlemen, if you see that the areas that we mentioned about timing and so forth, they are less than 10. There are less than 10 polling centers. You can imagine what has happened throughout the Gambia. IEC fraudulently carrying out registration to help and assist NPP to win these elections. I cannot imagine what could be a greater fraud, what could be a greater electoral fraud in any situation. But we have here the group by a group indication of a number of registered voters, and according to IEC's own document, Njao in Upper Salum had 555 registered votes, and this is on this campaign is throughout the Gambia for the whole all the polling centers in the Gambia. Njao is indicated as having 555 registered voters, which is made of 226 males and 329 females. But 2 days before the opening of the polls, IEC issued and supplied our agents with this. And that has 1,003 voters. A difference of 440 something. Where did it come? Where did it come from? Is that document? And all that we refer to are all their documents. Where did that 443 votes come from? I had mentioned the Farato Mosque, which was not a designated registration center. You all had seen in the social media when our monitoring team went to Diabugu, they found registration being conducted in Ramekunda, which is claimed to be or even for Kiang West, or Kiang East. We've mentioned Sibito in Kiang Central. So can you imagine the amount of fraud, the monumental fraud that IEC and NPP perpetrated on the people of the Gambia? And when we wanted this to be heard, the Supreme Court said you cannot. Maybe if the court had looked at these documents and seen this fraud, they would have said, look, we have to hear this matter. But peremptorily stopped us. These gentlemen are some of the evidence at our disposal, and we know that the IEC is sitting on tons and tons of their fraud, which they do not want to make public to the Gambian people, and which they will not make public to the Gambian people because it is only done in under 3 minutes. Two days before elections, you produce a document showing 1,003. What is the explanation? Tell us why, after the close of registration in Brikama North, registration continued there. How is that possible? Gentlemen, you all heard Honorable Ibrahim Silla, one of his audience, said in an interview, registration. even mention a figure, and the figure is almost what the president is declared to have won. Imagine. So they knew what they were doing. This is what he was referring to when he said, it is this fraud. Manke kavoko mole laftere o mole yaje kavoko ye do ko no woto be place ko mun lalma bara tat ale tapale yal melke al yamira kavka te funtila bara filantal funtita natra nun kafoko korsonta nun diamo keta nun felle be funtila fana meliano kavoko wala be siala nyenti. And certainly ne fonko jibe yawe then you'll be total 10 registration out of period and so forth. Yeah, be calculating everything. It runs into thousands. Among a chemical damage or talul. So, gentlemen of the press, we think we should share this with you, and that the Gambian people should know that our rejection was based on reason, on valid reason. We did not just reject the results because we felt that we should reject it. We felt that the IEC, in complicity with NPP, has really stolen the Gambian people's verdict and produced a rogue register that benefited the NPP. But they knew what they were doing. And after all, these are not matters that can go to a revising court. Register someone after 5 p.m., that is the fraud by IEC and those people involved in it. You go to the revising court because the person is not qualified. He is not of age. That these frauds are discovered. Katafao kola lo kanyen tapale yal beka fundo watu lo adon ala ya lo ya jamela jamano la de ka ka le kanyen fonkol yo bari mbaka fenje ka menje ka ko intimidation ye molle bute ye molle yo bar ka ko nyinyo electoral fraud sifa e ka ka ID card wol di molla. Yes, maybe bari ka ko register outside of the tent nene maji ya jamela jamano sign abe ke kan after ngakele kavoko o kukrume be banko kanyata nyambane wala kan banko kanya say no bo balundika that so gambian ko lu alena dalilo jele ku ko tan membi jeto loyer bammen wala elections act and even the code of conduct ni international idea men signed in November ilefo kavoko campagne kono nandil kana kijera campagne kono mo kana si ku samba je bar wallahi nyen campagne kono si ku man fa campagne to nyen Gambia kono na men tambita nyen campagne wala yatinna ka results nyol je wala nan ka results nyol je dulalto mais yalon ka fako Mr. Fall Kavoko, I have 5 votes less to get. Wala nankaje, Kavoko, Mr. Jamme, I have 5 votes less to get. In URR, areas near Kavoko, you have sitting UDP MPs because then we can only get 15 votes. Kavoko, tribal funkolenato. And nitara la dolto. Ikaje Kavoko senda fana I mentioned it. When you're in a bankolet, I'm saying this because na bankolet nyata. Nimbweta mirala musi jumalete. Nakande ninkandite musi jumalete. Omutinya rolete. That is census of ethnic groups. Census for ethnic groups. Abikelo damanete. Flor be siarin dame yaje bela voter karomen man kol be siarin dame yaje bela voter karomen. It's not good for our country. It's not healthy for our country. aduñu carton ñi mansa kunda ñi wol fana ne ya sindi ko me yalam ka manke ñi banko la nafaade ka siolu ke kun takindi ñola ka siol jutundi ñola ngani bilal mel fo sibito ñolu njao those places ne voting patanje jeto ye voting patanje kunti ñolto ye voting patanje mana ñolto ka ka fa ko na banko ñi unfortunate is divided on tribal line, which is really unfortunate. But wala nyenjumo lumbala for more sinina ila siola ya Gambia muta kafo ko lu mukuti nyanta men frankla. Gentlemen of the press, I thought this is what I have to share with you. At least our views are this, that this is how the NPP aided by NPP aided by IEC. Initial opening of the polls, 7 of them before 8 o'clock and 72 of them after 5 o'clock. The 200 was for Jambanjeli. I thank you all, gentlemen of the press. I hope after the National Assembly elections, we'll meet again. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Well, I didn't say much in Mandinka, but in Mandinka. But okay, what I said in Mandinka, let me just repeat that in what I've been reminded. Limita look te moy dama don wone rek ne election bi nim démé ñu andut ak loi IEC continué na di binda register bi time bi mu jeexee ak wax bi nga xam ne ci lañ war def registration mel ne Banjul mini stadium registration bi dañ ko jox période diggante ay fan waaye ba fan yooyu passé gis nañ ne ñu ngi fa doon register loolu moo xewoon Brikama North moo xewoon Brikama South moo xewoon na mel Latrikunda Sabiji moo xewoon Kombo South moo xewoon Badbu moo xewoon Jawo ak in fact Kombo South in fact foofu la gën a bon dëkk bu ñoo wax Jambanjeli nga xam ne fukki nit ak juróom ñeneent dañ leen register fekk